Hi, I'm Andy Bales, President and CEO of Union Rescue Mission, coming to you with an end of the month report, end of April report. And it has been a month and maybe 2 months like no others before. We started off the month with a little bit of an understanding that a mysterious, ferocious virus was coming our way. And we first experienced it when I was on the phone, really on the radio, with the local KPCC 89.3, the local NPR station, and we were speaking to folks who were out in their cars, and we had a man call in, Reggie, saying he was sick in his car, believed he had COVID-19, and others offered him websites to go to, and we just said, Reggie, come on in. Come here, we will accept anyone, whether they're sick or not. We met Reggie in our underground parking area with a nurse, and we were totally protected with a mask and gear, and we walked him up to our already set up quarantine area in the gym, and we had Reggie stay here for a bit. Then he moved to the county's Dockweiler Beach quarantine area. In the end, it showed that Reggie was just sick with another kind of flu, wasn't sick with COVID-19, but sick with a mirage flu we've been dealing with. So on top of COVID-19, looking out for that, we've been dealing with a fever and cough for 24 to 48 hours, or a fever and upset stomach for 24 to 48 hours, which has really made this a difficult process to work through. But reality really set in when one of our own, Gerald Sharoma, our van driver, who had made quite a comeback story. He came in as a guest. He was afflicted with an addiction. That addiction had caused him to not be there for his parents when they passed away. And Gerald was filled with guilt and shame about that. But he entered our recovery program. He was able, with the help of a chaplain, to write an apology to his deceased parents. He learned to manage his life and live with himself like we all have to do. Gerald graduated from our recovery program, became an apprentice and then an apprentice driver, and he did so well he was hired as a full-time staff driver. He went into the hospital, actually got turned away from urgent care first, and the next day he went into USC County Hospital and into the ER, was immediately put in ICU, and for 11 days battled in ICU for his life until he finally passed away. His cousin alerted us and let us know, you all finally helped Gerald find family. You helped him find a new life. You helped him find community. He passed away 15 minutes ago, and that hit us like a ton of bricks. It hit like a spear to our souls, and really the struggle that Gerald had, the illness that Gerald had, inspired us to buckle down with even more precautions, even more safety. Then we began to experience much more. We had 2 other men on the 3rd floor test positive for COVID-19. Recently we had a 2nd floor guest test positive for COVID-19. Had another guest call me from the hospital, and although he went to the hospital on another issue, tested positive for COVID-19. Fortunately, he's recovering. And then finally, another lady tested positive for COVID-19. So we began to decompress our guests within Union Rescue Mission, beginning with the frail and the elderly and those with a secondary issue of moving them out to more private lodging and nursing care that the county has set up in the local, currently empty hotels, now being used to address homelessness. It's sad that it took a pandemic to come to Los Angeles to finally get us to get serious about addressing homelessness, but it certainly has. Empty motels and hotels are now accepting people who are devastated by homelessness. And 50% of Union Rescue Mission began to empty in April, and as of now, we are down to 500 to 600 guests, men, women, and children. The rest, the frail and elderly, have been moved out to safe housing. Another issue besides safety that has loomed large is the fact that we learned we would only have about 4 to 6 weeks of food, and our meal times have increased substantially. Our meals served to outside guests went up by 33% the first day and rose to about 40 to 50% higher. So we expanded our meal times from 10:45 to 3 to make enough time for social distancing. And we are the only hot meal still on Skid Row. So you can imagine how that has increased participation in our one meal a day offered to the outside to people who are hungry on Skid Row. So we had to get creative. I was sitting there watching the numbers pour in early on, and I thought, how are we going to feed all of these people? What happens when we run out of food? And it instantly came to my mind all the restaurants that have helped us in the past. And I thought, what about Patty's Gourmet Pizza? So I called Patty Phillips, and she was just beginning to lay off her people and close her business down. And she said our call was like an answer to prayer. She hired her people back, and I said, could you provide pizza 3 to 4 times a week? I mean, everybody loves pizza. And she said, not only can we do that, we'll hire our people back and we'll supply you with pizza. Then she went out and found somebody to pay for the pizza and donate to Union Rescue Mission to pay for the pizza for the first few weeks. Well, I thought if it works for Patty, how about Subway? They do Christmas in July. They do a special Christmas Subway program for us. And Subway did the same thing. They emptied a restaurant, they finished paying their staff, and then they closed that restaurant. Then they reached out to others so that we could have Subway's sandwiches a couple times a week. Well, then an unnamed, very popular hamburger joint who doesn't want any credit on earth, they want it all in heaven, they decided to do a couple meals a week. And then Porto's Bakery, who gives us $1.6 million of pastries a year, decided to do 2 meals a week. And then now Barbecue Relief is coming to our aid. So we've done our best at safety, and now we've procured enough food for the future and that noontime meal that's so important to the residents of Skid Row. So we are adapting to this new world we live in. And I want to tell you, we could not have held up through all of this without partners like you. We couldn't have stepped up to become like a mini hospital and working side by side with the county. We've actually helped the county learn through this how to do this, how to do this work on Skid Row. And we couldn't have done that without you. We couldn't have bought the extra supplies. Friends like you have provided the masks that we've needed, have provided the gowns that we've needed, have provided the face shields that we needed, have provided the rubber gloves that we've needed to try and do our best to stay safe. We couldn't do any of this, and I want to emphasize life-saving, life-changing work without you. Thank you. Keep us in your prayers, and God bless you.